fate will be our last. We shoot the ballistas, iron bolts fly, monsters fall as we light up the sky. Templars fighting, we clear the maps, victory's ours, no turning back. Armored beasts with claws and fangs, in our sights, their death bell clangs. We push forward, fear no foe.
Welcome to my lazy Deadeye build guide. So this is a 2-button build, quite tanky, solid DPS. So if you're a lazy player like myself and you want to have a good time in this game, you will stick with this build. So in case you don't know me or are new to the channel, know that this was my starter in Path of Exile 2. Each day I made a summary with my progress, explaining the changes and my exploration, and was great. But people requested that I do a full guide so they have everything in one place. Know that I talked about Deadeye even before the Path of Exile 2 launch. I explained that it's an all-rounder build that you cannot go wrong, especially with Lightning Arrow. So enough talking, I will explain the skill gems, the skill tree, my items as fast as possible so I don't bore you to death. Okay, let's go. Okay my boys, now let's talk about the skill gems. So I will talk about the endgame skill gem setup and for early campaign, in case you want to level now a ranger and ascend into Deadeye because you want to make this sexy build here, I will tell you about the gem setups there too. So for the end game you want to have this one. For Lightning Arrow we will put martial tempo so we attack faster. We put lightning infusion so we do more damage. We put primal armament, this will also give you more elemental damage. We put innervate, this will also give us more damage. When you clear monsters we will trigger this one that will boost your damage. And also this one, heft. This will scale with our weapon, we will talk in the item section. And for the lightning rod we want to put scatter shot so we are shooting more lightning rods on the ground. Then we want to put electrocute, this is big because electrocution is basically another stun. So we have normal stun build up and also the electrocution that will put the enemies in place, including bosses. This is a big quality of life that saves our ass even in maps. And here we have magnified effect, so these explosions from the rods will trigger in a larger area. And it's important, especially because we have electrocution here and lighting exposure. So they will apply exposure in a much larger area, which is important. When they apply lighting exposure, we will deal more damage with Lightning Arrow. Good. Don't look here at the DPS tooltip because we had these strange interactions in the skill tree. Also, this one innervate procs inside the maps. The damage is much more higher, as you will see. Here for the auras you want to go with Wind Dancer. This helps with our defenses. You will notice that we barely get hit. As a matter of fact, we should watch it right now. So here is my chance to evade. Also this will go up as I shoot my tailwind stacks. Also if you dodge roll it will go even higher. We can get even more than this by the way, we will talk in a second. And here you want to support it with clarity and cannibalism. This will help you with the mana regeneration rate, and cannibalism it's great, especially for maps where you have monsters everywhere. Basically you don't need to use your life flask anymore. As you clear monsters your life will refill instantly. This is a great gem to support. And for the rest of the spirit we will use Herald of Thunder. This is a great damage boost. You see 100 of physical damage converted into light damage. You will notice that it instantly clears monster packs, is so good. And in order to reserve the rest of our spirit, we will gonna take this one. Because helps. Some extra recovery life from Flask. Because I explained you want to reserve all your spirit. You don't want to have spirit leftovers. We put it here. Because this will be the order for the campaign. When you first start with this build, you will take martial tempo so you have more attack speed. Here, if you struggle with mana regeneration, you will put this one, which is called the inspiration, so they cost less mana. For the campaign I'm talking, yeah. When you don't have mana problems, you will put back this one, lightning infusion. I think that in Act 1 you struggle a little with mana, so you can put inspiration. But once you reach to Act 2 and higher, you can put back this one, lightning infusion, and you're good to go. And here for the end game, for example, in maps I don't have any problem to shoot like this and use my mana flask. But if you want to be really lazy and not to press your mana flask, you can put for the last gem here, you can put this one, inspiration. And will allow you to shoot with arrows without any problem. Look at my mana. So this will solve your mana issues if you want, but I don't care. I press the mana flask, it charges very fast. We will talk about the flask in the item section also, because I have some tips there. So here for the lightning rod in the campaign, you go like this. Scatter shot is the primary one. Then you want to put electrocution. You put them in this order. You unlock it exactly in this order. Now for the auras in the campaign, you go with Wind Dancer and Herald of Thunder. No supports. Yeah, maybe if you struggle with mana, you can drop Herald of Thunder and you just put here Clarity. Remember that in Act 3 in Cruel difficulty, if you defeat this boss here, we'll drop an item that grants 40 extra spirit. So instead of 60, you will have 100. So I need to stress that out. Okay, my boys, now let's talk about the skill tree. I will take the nodes in a logical order in case you want to create fresh ranger class. You will go like this. You'll take these nodes, it will increase your damage and give you some pierce here. Then you want to go here at the bottom. You take increased elemental damage to attack and some physical damage mitigation. Then you go here at the top and we have some lightning penetration. You see 15 lightning penetration is good. Then you want to go here and we will take these nodes until we get additional pierce, one extra pierce, which is great. Then you'll want to go here at the bottom. You'll take all these nodes here. This will help with the electrocution and with the shock. So you'll take these nodes here. Then you want to go at the bottom. You take these nodes here. More chance to shock will help with the electrocution faster. Take these nodes for some penetration. Here we have more penetration and more chance to shock. You want to take this node for lightning damage is lucky. Then we go here at the bottom. They will help you with damage against rare and unique enemies. Great nodes to take. Then we go here and we will take some attack speed. Here 10% attack speed, and we will also apply blind. Blinded enemies have less chance to hit us, which is great because we have a lot of evasion rating. So this paired up with the blind, enemies barely hit us. That's why we don't die in our maps, no matter how difficult they are. And here more blind effect. When an enemy stuns, you will instantly get blinded, which is good. Then let's see what else I took. I rushed here for the quiver nodes. These are big nodes and should be taken by everyone in my opinion. So here it's your quiver. Taking these nodes will amplify the benefits that you get on the quiver. The idea is that you want to take a kick-ass quiver and this will get pumped up because of these nodes. So you will take all these nodes here. Let me remember what I did next. Then you want to take these nodes here. We will also take these nodes here. Will help you with damage. This also will help with damage. This also helps with damage. Yeah. And now we should start investing seriously into defenses. So when you reach the mapping phase, you want to invest more and more into defenses. So we will take these easy points here that will boost on the spot your evasion rating, which are great. We take this. There's no point on taking these nodes early. So these ones we will take once we reach maps. They scale greatly in later, not in the early campaign, trust me. Then you want to go here at the top. We will take this node that is great. So basically it doubles the evasion rating that I have here on my body armor. We will talk in the item section. And we will take this one for more damage while affected by Herald of Thunder. Good. When the Path of Building program will be released, I will provide a POB. Until then, know that on the Guild Discord server, I will create a dedicated channel for this build where we will have screenshots of the order in which you will allocate these points, some tips, and I will talk about items and changes that I might do in the future. So in case you don't know me, I always make an info channel for my builds. Yeah? Well, you have all the information in one place that can help you. You might want to take a look there, else you will stick to this guide here. Now for the Ascendancy. We will take Deadeye as explained, but you need to take them in this order. First of all, we will go for point blank. Point blank, even in the campaign, is big, because the enemies will rush towards you and most of your attacks will be done at close distance. Yeah? So we will get the maximum benefit from point blank, which is 20% more hit damage. This is actually much bigger than increased damage. In Path of Exile, this is a big multiplier, more damage. Yeah. Then you go the second lab, you take this one, skills, fire and additional projectile. This will help you with the clears greatly. You also place more lightning rods. Yeah, so focus on that one. And on the third lab, we will take Tailwind. Don't take Tailwind in the campaign, I explained multiple times, because you will get hit often and you will lose all your stacks. Tailwind, you want to take it later when you have a lot of chance to evade, so you barely get hit and you keep all your charges. So again, do as POE guide tells you, go for point blank, go for endless munition. If you take it in the campaign, you will have low dodge chance, enemies will hit you and you lose your stacks. Now for the end game, we will stack a lot of dodge, we will not get hit, also we blind the enemies, that's why we keep our charges, that's why it's so broken. Okay my boys, now let's talk about the items. I will actually split it into two sections, items for the end game and items for the campaign progression, for the acts. Okay, let's start first with the items for the end game. So for here we will have items that deal damage, the bow and the quiver mainly, and items that help us to keep our resistances. So when you reach the end game mapping phase, you want to have fire, cold and lightning 75%. And here it's another tip for the chaos resistance, which is quite big actually. So in Act 3 we have a quest here for the vials. Pick the one that gives you 10% chaos resistance, because getting chaos resistance later it's pretty hard. Yeah, so you want to prioritize that. So in cruel difficulty in Act 3, pick the vial that gives you 10% chaos resistance. You will thank me later. So here for the items you want ones that give you life and resistances. That's pretty much it. Life, resistances. You will get your resistances until you have 75% everywhere. Remember that you can socket all these items with an artificer's orb. So it will put sockets. In these sockets usually you can put some runes that grant you resistances until you can have here kept resistances. That's about it. Very easy. I don't have anything special. No uniques, nothing like that. Here for the anoint. So in case you don't know in Path of Exile, you can anoint your amulets.
Shocking.
Yeah. So you want at least one item that will give you some flat mana. More than 100. I decided to put it in the amulet here. Maybe you put it on the ring. Maybe you put it on the amulet. The idea is that one item should have more than 100 mana, because we don't want to have mana stress inside the maps. As it is, if you have one item with more than 100 mana, it will be more than enough. I did my tests. So let's talk about that anoint. You want to anoint something cheap that doesn't cost a lot. So I went for this one. Hits against you have 20% reduced critical damage bonus, because in maps there are some rare monsters with a lot of critical damage bonus. And if you're unlucky, they can hit you really hard. That's why I want to mitigate it slightly. Also, this node gives you some strength and dexterity, which is good, and some armor and evasion. This is for budget. Yeah, so if you don't have enough currency, just buy this. It uses cheap battles. Let me show you what I mean. So if you press on hold alt, it will tell you this: distilled emotions, greed, guilt, paranoia. And now I'm gonna use them. These are cheap. So it said like this: greed, guilt, paranoia. Now to anoint your amulet, you will right click one of these battles. We'll open this panel, you put your amulet here, and you put in this order. And now you can anoint something. This is for the budget. You will put it because it's great, especially early mapping. Later you can anoint whatever you want. But I need to stress that the amulets can be anointed in Path of Exile. I'll also keep you up to date in the guild Discord server. But for now, this will have to do it. Good. Now let's talk about our weapons. So we have the bow and we have the quiver. Basically, we're focusing on as much physical damage as possible. And I'll show you the laziest way to search a great bow. So I'm assuming most of you are new to Path of Exile, so have no fear, POE guy is here. We go here onto the sexy trade website, so Path of Exile to trade, and you will do it like this. You'll put here bow, and behold and be amazed. We have this row here, physical DPS, and you put something, I don't know, above 220. Let's put 230. They should be cheap actually. Look, great bows. All these bows are great. So for me, I searched with 250. I paid 3 exalted orbs, I think. It was very cheap. Look, a lot of them. Actually, they might even be better than me. Or even if you have more budget, you can find. So my one, the one that I'm using currently, and I'm 3-shotting rares, 4-shotting rares, I go search with 250. But if you have more currency, you can go even for 300. Oh shit, this is cheap. I'm gonna take it. Oh, I have D&D. What do you know? You know, when you take it, you take it. You get to take it. This is an upgrade for me. And I will also show you about the socketing. Yeah. This is a great bow, and I can socket it with Artificer's Orb and put more physical damage here. Let me show you. So this is an iron rune. Yeah? So you will socket it, then you put 2 iron runes. Yeah, so you deal more physical damage. Don't forget to do this. And for the rest of the modifiers, I suggest you also do some exile slams. Maybe you get something useful. This guy doesn't want to sell it to me, you know. Let's whisper him again. Oh! And for the quiver, you want, again, physical damage modifiers, projectile skills if it is possible. Increases to projectile speed helps us, because remember, we have in the skill tree this node that says increases and reductions to projectile speed also apply with damage bows. So you can even take with projectile speed. Dexterity helps, even lighting damage to attacks. And we will talk about that modifier in a second. I need to stress that you can take physical damage even on the gloves, even on the rings. Yeah. Look here, I need to give you a reference. See? It alters So you can find it even on the rest of the gear. My boys, I forgot to talk about the flasks and the charms. What do you know? So for the charms, which are very, very important, you want to get one that grants immunity to freeze. Yeah, this is the only charm that you want. And you will roll it with transmutation and augmentation until you get something useful. This is the mentality now. The game just launched. Don't put it white. You want to apply transmutation, augmentation. Yeah, let's see if I can put a regal orb. No, it doesn't let me. Good, because if you get frozen inside your maps, you will die. This charm will prevent you from getting frozen. It's great. Yeah. It will help you in a lot of sticky situations. So that's all that you want. A charm that gives you immunity to getting frozen. Here for the life flask, you want to get ultimate flasks for mana and life. And again, you apply transmutation and augmentation until you get something useful, that is useful for you. For example, there are some modifiers that affect minions. We are not a minion build. And you will buy a new flask and you will try again. For example, here I have increased charges, so I can use my flask more times. And here I have reduced charges used, so instead of consuming 10 charges, it consumes 7, which is good. I explained that in the maps, I don't have any mana issue. When the mana gets low, I just use my mana flasks. At the moment, it doesn't have charges, but you get the idea. The flasks are very important. I also need to talk about the jewels in the skill tree, because I just realized that I forgot. Oh, I'm human, you know? The jewels that I currently have here are budget. So I was a greedy man. All the items here I try to buy as cheap as possible. 2 exceptions actually. So let's see here. Increased lighting damage. That give increased evasion rating. That give you damage penetrates lighting resistance. Projectile damage is also good. Things that alter your flasks or charms are also decent. This one I got from Ultimatum. If you socket it in an armor, will give you further mitigation. So we have 10 extra. So I have 20 for here, 30. So if you have your resistances already capped, consider putting in these sockets these runes, Soul Core of Tikaba. It will give you more reduced critical damage bonus. If we get hit, we don't want to get one-shot. This is my mentality. At the moment, with all these dodge chance here and the blind effect, I barely get hit. And even if I get hit, I don't die. I can take 3 or 4 hits before dying, which will not happen. So I had even 10 maps in a row without one single death. No death. This build is great, let's move on. Now we need to talk about items for the campaign phase. So you watch this sexy guide here and I convinced you to try this good build. And you will do it as follows. For the items in the campaign, you will look for items that give you life and that help you with mana regeneration. You don't need to worry about your resistances to have them kept, especially the first 2 acts. No, if you find some resistances, it's good, but don't stress too much on first act to second act. The resistances become a problem starting the cruel difficulty. So once you finish the 3 acts and you start cruel difficulty, then here you can start worrying about resistances. Maybe you go above 50. So it's not mandatory to have 75% everywhere. Idea is above 50. So you want life and above 50 resistances, so you have a good time. For example, here in Act 1, the final act boss here does a lot of cold damage. You might want to take more than 50 cold resistance, yeah? And now for the damage in the campaign, especially in Acts 1 and 2, I suggest you don't go for physical damage. Instead, you go with flat added lighting damage because it scales greatly. So the bases for low levels have few physical damage. That's why if we are stacking storm runes, let me check you here. So we'll socket them and you will use storm runes. And where I have them? I have them somewhere. This one adds 1 to 20 lighting damage. If you socket this beauty in the campaign, you will have a good time. You will deal much more damage than using physical damage. So long story short, for the weapons, in order to deal more damage in the campaign, you will stack flat added lighting damage as much as possible. You look for the rings, for the quiver, for the bow, added lighting damage to attacks, because you will do more damage. But once you reach the mapping phase, we will go with physical damage to attacks. Now I need to upgrade this bow because I was using it since Waystone's number 2. And now I'm at 10. So my bow is outdated and I'm still pumping shit ton of damage, which is great. Yeah. So this build has been already tested by a lot of my friends. They love it. Mwah! Great build. If you want to see gameplay footage for this build, go on my channel and watch the recent videos. You have everything there. Remember, my boys, that on the guild Discord server I will do a dedicated channel for this build, Path of Exile 2 Lighting Arrow Deadeye. And I will put all the tips and information possible. I will even provide screenshot with the skill tree progression. And if I do changes, I will write here. You'll have an info channel, as always, and a chat channel where you can discuss. This I do for all my builds. Okay, enough talking, my boys. Enjoy, and good luck.
Vroom.